Good morning. This is the Great Basin prescribed fire and weather briefing for Monday, October 27th. Burn projects ongoing across much of the higher terrain of northern Utah, as well as the western portion of the central Idaho mountains and a few other burns in between. Overall, in the past 7 days, it's been quite dry across the southern part of the region, although there is some precipitation coming in today. This does not include precipitation over the past 24 hours. Heavier amounts of precipitation across the central Idaho mountains. You can see half-inch to inch-and-a-half amounts in the percent of normal, and how much drier it is in the southern half of the region, how much wetter than normal to the north up in Idaho, though not extending that far eastwards. Looking at the flash drought index over the past 2 weeks, there has been an increase in drying across much of the southern half of Nevada, parts of western Utah. Otherwise, no significant signals, a bit of moistening northwest Nevada and eastern Idaho. Snow cover, confined to the higher terrain, but starting to expand in coverage across the central Idaho mountains, not just the peaks anymore, but getting down into some of the middle elevations. Same story for parts of the Tetons in Wyoming, but staying confined to the highest terrain up in the Uintas, although this will be turning more white with a few inches of snow occurring today across parts of Utah. Over the past 72 hours, you can see additional snowfall, 6 to 12 inches in these gold to orange colors, and maybe 2 to 4 inches here in this darker blue further south, and also some snow dusting the higher peaks of Nevada. Where some of our burn projects are ongoing, up in the Payette, we see that ERCs recently rose back to near normal, but they're starting to decline again, where that dot is through there, so a moistening trend for the next couple of days. And of course, the Uinta and Wasatch, we've been drying out quite a bit, so they're actually a fraction above normal, so some good burning conditions there, although precipitation is currently ongoing there. So this was, as of yesterday afternoon, this will be sliding downwards. See the trend line going down over the next couple of days there. Satellite imagery. There's a band of low clouds here. You can faintly see across northern Nevada, northern Utah, there's some precipitation. Otherwise, more heavier clouds moving out of central eastern Utah. Another storm system poised to move into the Pacific Northwest. Satellite imagery does show some of that precipitation under those lower clouds across northern Utah, slamming into the Wasatch. Showers and snow levels about 6,000, 6,500 feet, so there'll be several inches of snow. Also precipitation, eastern Idaho moving to western Wyoming. A lot of that's going to be in the form of snow. So upper level map, by late this afternoon, that moisture starts moving out. We see drier air by these tannish shades coming in on northwest winds. Temperature still quite cool. Dispersion pretty good across most areas. You can see the wind speeds on the left-hand side. Sustained winds pretty strong, maybe 15 to 25 miles an hour. We see the orange shades, also pretty gusty across parts of the Snake River Plain, light and variable elsewhere. You can see the humidity, upper teens in the south, 25 to 35 in central regions, and 45% or higher further northwards. Now, the transport winds show some pretty strong winds on the lee side of the Wasatch, where some of those burns are ongoing. Transport winds, maybe too much of a good thing, 35 to 40 miles an hour. You see those purple colors, maybe near 30 miles an hour in the oranges further north, and not much significant wind further westwards. Good vertical mixing of several thousand feet. Now for tomorrow, high pressure building in, so diminishing winds, dry air, some gradual warming across the western Great Basin, but still a cool northwest flow across the eastern Great Basin. You see our ventilation index, dispersion starts to worsen a little bit under that high pressure ridge. Winds at the surface, not that much of a factor. A little breezy down in the south on northeast winds. Humidity, low teens in southern Nevada. I think you see going up into the mid-20s in northern Nevada, near 30% Utah, and about 35 to 50% in our northern areas. Transport winds, not much going on except on some northerly winds get enhanced by the terrain. We could see some gusty conditions down there. Now, on Wednesday, broad ridge of high pressure across the southern half of the geographic area. Still a tighter belt of winds up north. You see the dispersion of ventilation decreases in a lot of areas, so not that much dispersion. We don't have much surface wind. Humidity drying out in the south, some single digits coming in, and we start seeing 20s to near 30% creeping into southern Idaho. Not much on the transport wind front. Mixing heights not that high, maybe 1,500 to 2,500 feet most areas. Now we see a temperature change, especially up north. 35 degrees for high in McCall and 47 by Wednesday. So 12-degree warm up there, about an 8-degree warm up in northern Utah. However, like in southern areas, it's actually warmer today and it cools down a couple degrees in Vegas. 3-day precip totals, just what's going on right now on the radar across parts of northern Utah and into eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, maybe a tenth of an inch. Snowfall-wise, maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. Otherwise, as we go into Thursday, still broad high pressure, watching a very deep winter-type storm system off the Pacific Northwest. But with the high pressure, dispersion is still pretty poor. And that storm plows into the Pacific Northwest on Friday. Some of the leading edge of that moisture goes into our central Idaho mountains, at least the western part, by Halloween. And then on November 1st, high pressure builds in. We call it a dirty ridge of high pressure because usually high pressure is dry, but this will have some moisture from that storm wrapped in, some clouds, and maybe some light precipitation in far northern Utah and Nevada. We'll see. But then otherwise, the high pressure wins out with the dryness as we go into next Sunday, with warmer conditions in the southern half of the year, but a plume or a train of moisture plowing again into those very wet areas of Idaho and western Wyoming. Days 4 and 5 precip, not much here, but then we start seeing more of it pulling into our central Idaho mountains, and some of the computer models suggest that this could be even a little bit stronger. We'll see. But otherwise, 7-day totals continuing staying dry across much of the geographic area except for far northern and eastern areas, especially in higher terrain. The 8 to 14-day outlook continues to show warmer than normal temperatures and a drier than normal signal for at least most of the area. There is that wetter than normal signal in our northern regions based on the storm track staying in the Pacific Northwest. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day. Next one coming up on Wednesday.